Hi, my name is Marin, and I am a spiritual health practitioner. And this is my office where I work. And one of the things that really got me started on this journey a long time ago was thinking about spiritual experiences. And because I had a pretty profound one when I was 19 years old. And over the years, a lot of people have asked me about spiritual experiences and like, well, how do you know if you've had a spiritual experience? Or, you know, like, does it mean anything? Or, maybe I should change my life and all these kind of things. Well, so in this video, I just wanted to start the conversation about like how you really know that you've had a spiritual experience. There are actually lots of people who've done research on spiritual experience and have written extensive books on it. And so it's not necessarily this, just kind of bizarre or, just lofty realm of human existence, but it's like honestly academically studied. So, but there are a couple things that maybe you can look for. I've got three that I'm thinking of right now today that might, just like give you a sense of is what happened to me a spiritual experience. And so, first of all, we got to talk, maybe define a little bit what a spiritual experience is. And I would say that a spiritual experience is some encounter or experience that you have had that is out of the ordinary. Another way to phrase it is it's an encounter with non-ordinary reality. So ordinary reality is like the couch behind me, or the camera that's filming me, or just the food that I ate this morning for breakfast. Just kind of like the sun setting and rising tomorrow, and just these things that we expect out of physical reality. So non-ordinary reality are the things that we maybe don't always see or hear or touch or realize or experience. And so these are the things that start to get in the realm of spiritual experience. And so how do you know that what you've had happen to you is a spiritual experience? So the first thing I wanted you to think about is it kind of this encounter with something that's unusual? Because we have these physical experiences like walking through the park, but also like more profound ones, like maybe giving birth to a baby, or maybe holding the hand of someone you love, or being at the ocean and having this amazing, like view. The spiritual experience is going to be not just the physical activity of looking at the ocean, but starting to feel like a connection to that ocean, starting to feel things about yourself that surprise you because of where you are. And so it's a spiritual experience is more than just the physical, mental experience of it, but instead it starts to get into, and it's not emotional either, but it tends to get into more of this intuition and senses of who you are and what reality is. So, for example, maybe you would, I worked with a group of teenagers for a long time in recovery who were working to be sober and then also mentally healthy. And we were talking about spiritual experiences because they wanted to, part of the 12 steps actually has the word, like, spiritual awakening, because of doing the 12 steps. And so they were wondering, like, well, what is a spiritual experience, or what is a spiritual awakening? And there was one person in the group who couldn't think of, she'd never had anything happen to her. Like, she didn't know if she'd ever seen a ghost or an angel or anything like that. And so she was feeling, I think, a little bit dismayed because she hadn't had those experiences. And then the weekend passed, and then they all came back for treatment the following week. And she comes up to me and she's like, Maren, I think I had a spiritual experience. And I'm like, oh, that's so great. Like, I'm so glad for you. And I'm like, what happened? And she said, well, I was sitting in the backyard with my mom because she was like planting flowers. And so I was helping her a little bit, and then I was kind of like sitting there on the back steps, and it was a sunny day, and like a breeze blew by, and I just felt joy. Do you think that was a spiritual experience? And I was like, of course, like, that is a really amazing spiritual experience. And her experience goes beyond just like, okay, so it was a sunny day and there was this nice breeze and she was with her mom and stuff like that. It goes beyond that because she ended up feeling like this feeling of joy, just sitting there and being in ordinary reality. But the feeling of joy is more like the non-ordinary reality, like coming through and touching her. And so anyway, the second reason that you might know that you are having a spiritual experience is that it is something that you have never experienced before. Something that feels really different or really special. So when I was thinking about this one, like it's, I was thinking of the encounters that I have had in nature with animals and birds and rivers and things like this. But mostly it's with animals because they act, they behave. And so there was one day that I was at a place in my life where I was like trying to understand some things that were going to happen in my future, and thinking about this really hard as I was driving home from work, and felt like I had this real sense of like peace about it, and just feeling really kind of full in some of the things that I had come to. And I got home and I opened the door of my car, and I kid you not, like this bald eagle just flew right over my head, just like right over the car. It was like maybe 8 feet above the car, just like really close, just flew right over me. And I was like, what happened? Like, oh my God. And I'm just getting goosebumps right now. Just thinking about that again. But like that, the eagle seemed to, because if you know how a bald eagle is revered in at least the cultures, the indigenous people of the plains of this continent, that it's immediate connection to the great spirit, to the greater creator, and that the bald eagle comes to us and is with us, and shows up as not only a reminder but a representative of the Great Spirit's presence. And so when this eagle just comes flying right at me, I'm like, oh my God, what a assurance of the things that I had just been like thinking about, and that they were connected to something greater than me, and maybe part of like a greater purpose, and maybe could be of real healing, you know, in my life and in the world. There's also like so many wonderful videos that people have of encounters with like swimming with dolphins when they're just out on their stand-up paddleboard somewhere, or deer that just come up to people, or just the way that wildlife engages with you. So it's more than just like, seeing animals, like maybe even, in a zoo or something like that. But this is an unusual encounter, like with nature, an unusual encounter with ordinary reality, like the person who's standing in front of you at the checkout line and then turns around and just says something to you like, I think everything's gonna be okay. And then they just like keep like having their items scanned, and you're like, what? Like, what? Why did they just say that? And so there's these extraordinary things in the midst of ordinary reality. So, and then the third way that I think that you can tell that you've had a spiritual experience is if it does something to you, if it opens up your heart in some way, if it softens your feelings about someone that you're trying to forgive, if it makes you realize something about your circumstances. I mean, like I was saying, all the other things that we just talked about, let's say having this feeling of joy while you're sitting on the back step on a sunny day while your mom's planting flowers, that was a spiritual experience because you suddenly realize I can have joy at any time. And I might be like fighting an addiction and fighting urges to continue to use, but because I'm searching for joy, whereas like I can just have joy at any time. And so a spiritual experience is going to make you feel like you've learned something on a maybe higher but also deeper level, and it's connecting you to feelings of like awe and wonder and compassion and deep gratitude, and brings out these higher qualities in you. So and then I just thought of another little one, maybe another reason that an encounter that you've had with non-ordinary reality is a spiritual experience, and it's because it helps you feel connected. And in a life that seems to almost encourage disconnection, usually spiritual experiences, a spiritual experience, will help you feel more connected to yourself, more connected to the world around you, more connected to the people in your lives, because of it. So, and I can think of lots of experiences like that I've had. So, and maybe you can too. So, well, thank you for listening to my thoughts about this. Spiritual experience is so important to me, and maybe you've had some spiritual experiences. I'd love to hear about them. If you want to tell us about it in the comments, that would be great. Because I feel like listening to or reading about other people's spiritual experiences is so inspiring. It just continues to bring about this feeling that life is actually full of grace and wonder and joy. In addition to all the other things that we have to deal with, there is this force of love and abundance and connection and joy that is there for us every day. So let me know what you think about spiritual experience, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.